I have never heard Jeff talk about anything racist. I've been up. No. And I got that out at the very first of the program. My dad, I've grown up with Jewish friends. I never even thought about Jewish people, anybody, African Americans. I am a totally unracist person. My little sister is Korean adopted, and I have no anti-Semitic tendencies in me, but we have to face it. There are some powerful Jewish interests in this world, just like there are other powerful Jewish interests, and we should be able to attack those interests, not that they're Jewish, but that they're powerful, they're concerted, and sometimes they're engaged in activity that is not good. But there's many more multiplied of WASP organizations, and you name it, that have just as much criminality involved with them. Yeah, I mean, my whole life, I've gone on vacations with my dad's friends, like, Jim Levy and people, to go out in the mountains and like go around surveying and, on mules and stuff. And my dad didn't say Jim's Jewish. I could care less. Jim Levy's a good friend of the family. And so to me, I have no. Yes, I admit the Spotlight. I will not quote the Spotlight on my television or radio show because it is anti-Semitic. It has a lot of good facts. That's what scares me. So much good information, but then it'll be laced with something about aliens or something about Jews or something. And that's what I hate about so much of the movement to cut back government. So many of the people that are vocal, or the people that the media gives attention, they are racist. But I don't think Jeff or me are in any shape or matter.
Let me just qualify that, Dave. First off, I've gotten some publicity, some negative publicity on those lines. But the fact is, and this is, I'm not just talking about your average, Jewish folk out here, because they're going to eat this problem. They're in the same mess that we are in. But the fact is, if you start studying, you start studying Adam Weishaupt, who was I like to use the term Zionist, because the fact is there are several of the Zionist interests, and you start looking at their names, you start looking at what they study, whether it be the Rothschilds, Habsburgs, whatever. A lot of these folks are, in fact, into the Zionist realm. Now, to me, it doesn't make any difference what they are. If they're in some kind of a plan to enslave me or my family, I'm going to speak out against it. I'm not going to back down from anything.
And when we say enslave,
that doesn't necessarily. There are plenty of people that are non-Jewish.
We don't mean a chain around our neck or anything. We're talking about
there are many
economic
people,
slavery.
There are many people that are involved in this thing knowingly, a majority of them unknowingly, that are participating in this scheme to enslave us, that are not tied into the Jewish religion. So it needs to be clarified exactly what.
Yes, I mean, it's the Jewish state, which I support, which I absolutely support. The Jews deserve that teeny little area they have. The Arabs have all these giant lands, and the Jews have Benjamin Netanyahu. I think the international community is trying to run him out of there because they want to give the UN, all these groups. The UN has voted against. Let me say this.
The ADL is not what it's intended.
Well, hold on.
The ADL is a wicked organization.
Let me finish, Jeff. Let me finish. Because this is really touchy stuff here. What I wanted to say is this. I want to say this out in the open. I support the Jewish state of Israel. They have been in that land. That is their land. And it's the UN that has declared them terrorists. The UN has declared that Israel has been acting wrongly, and the UN supports groups that want to dissolve the state of Israel and make it a marginalized state where we know Jews will not be allowed to stay. The Arabs will run them out of there. I'm not anti-Arab either. I'm just saying they deserve their small little plot of land. They should be left alone. And I see the media getting on Benjamin Netanyahu for so-called appointing an attorney general. Big deal. That's not criminal at all compared to our president. So I support. I think the Jews are getting chased by the same people. I think we're all in this boat together. UN's trying to take Israel away from the Jews.
Out of Freemasonry and the Skull and Bones, which George W. Bush and George Bush and several of your high-profile politicians are.
And they're far from Jewish.
That's the point. See, when you start talking about Freemasonry, that doesn't necessarily. Your average Joe Freemason out here is just involved in the Shriners and all this kind of thing. But the fact is, when you start getting to the high level, 33 and a degree and above levels of Freemasonry, these people are in fact wicked, and many of them are plotting for this new world order, as Adam Weishaupt goals and dreams of world domination back in 1776. So the fact is, there are many people and different types of groups involved in this, and some of them happen to be Zionists, so that's where this tag
Well, let's
comes,
back up real fast,
that,
Jeff.
that it's Jews
Jeff,
involved in this.
Why don't you tell us what they're pushing for? Because I have to tell people, and I say this a lot, and people have to understand it. Our debt is $5.3 trillion. It's not being cut. It's expanding faster than it ever has. But there's this new talk that we're all safe now, we're all wonderful now, and that Bill Clinton's finally cutting the government. No, it's gotten bigger than it ever has during his administration. Now we're into his second administration. It's ballooning ever faster, and all federal government is locked in at 10% growth rates. We have to understand, in 19 years, there'll be an 82% federal tax bracket. It's out of control. Everything is going to be government soon, and we have to know that the biggest piece of
It already is.
I know, yes,
It already is.
yes. Well, it's already controlled. Everything's controlled by the government, but everything is not government yet. But this is key. This is the key right here. $360 billion went just to pay interest to foreign banks, central banks, i.e. foreign governments in 1996. And since 1993, the majority of our debt is being financed by the Germans, the British, the Japanese, which who are far from Jewish, again, because I want everybody to know I think the Jews are small players in this. So I run from any kind of anti-Semitism, and I know Jeff does too. That's why. Because, I mean, when Osberger Statesman wrote that about him, I've never heard that out of his mouth years ago. I know, and I've known Jeff about a year, it was a damn lie because Jeff was real free talking around me, and he'll tell you just what he thinks. So that, and I've seen Osberger Statesman lie far too many times. So we're all not racist here, and I want to just reiterate that.